Hi guys, Captain TigerLily here, and today we are starting our Hippo Crochet Challenge, and I'm excited. A little anxious about a couple of the patterns because just from looking at the pictures, I know some of them are going to require sewing, and I'm not looking forward to that. If you haven't figured out by now, I don't like sewing. I do not. However, I will do it for the video. So, we are going to start off. I have 5 total patterns to try out for this video. So this video is probably going to be way longer than any of the other crochet ones have been thus far. So our first pattern is going to be the Hippo Crochet Pattern, let's see, by Kasabashi, which I will leave the link to this one because the pattern is originally in Russian and it was translated into English. So it should be okay. I did kind of skim over the pattern, but that's going to be our first one. And that one is a very chonky hippo, and I'm excited for it. The second one is the Ice Cream Hippo, and that pattern is, I'm scrolling to see, is by Rin Meow, and I'm going to link that pattern. And the other 3 are actually video patterns, which is going to be kind of different for me. But I'm going to link the videos to those as well down in the description if you guys want to check those out. So the first one of those is going to be the Rose and Lily Crochet, which we've done a couple of their patterns before, which I love. And theirs is actually a 2-part tutorial on their hippo pattern, which looks super cute, very big head, and I love that for like the chibi look. Next one is going to be almost like if you were going for like a cute but realistic pose for it. So instead of being upright or on its back legs like most of the other hippos are, this one's actually on all 4s, and that one is by Rosalie Toys. This one is considered a no-sew pattern, so I'm very excited for that one. And then our final one by EMT's Studio is Mudang. I'm so excited to try that one out. That is going to be the final one of our playthrough. Oh my god, I'm so in gamer mode right now. That is going to be our final one for this challenge. Each of the tutorial videos is between about they're between about half an hour to an hour long, depending on which one. Like the Mudang one is a little over a half an hour, and then the total for the Rose and Lily Crochet one is like 45 minutes, 35 to 45 minutes, somewhere in there. And then the Rosalie Toys one is almost an hour. So, but I feel like having the longer videos, especially for a tutorial, is going to give you a better sense of what you need to do. So I've not actually followed a video tutorial to do one of these yet, so it's going to be kind of interesting to see where this goes from here. If it gets to the point where I really can't follow the video itself, I'll probably just write down the steps for me on my tablet, just so that way I have them. And obviously I'm still going to link to the videos for you guys, that way you guys can check them out. And if you guys want me to do more videos like this, let me know down in the comment section below. So, I beg your pardon, child. It's not time for your food. You have like 2 hours. My goodness. So we're going to start with our very chonky hippo at first, and I am going to start with the Premier Just Chenille yarn in light blue. And it does call for safety eyes. Let me see if it tells me a size for them. It doesn't. Oh, they used beads. I don't use beads. I used to use buttons for the sea turtles, the big ones, when I first started, but I do not like how the buttons turn out when you do like the eyes on there. I'm always afraid they're gonna come loose. So I always stick with the safety eyes. Yes, there is still a chance that the safety eyes will come loose, but I'd rather take the chance with the safety eyes than I would with a button, because I feel like a button is gonna be a lot more dangerous and a lot easier to snap the threads holding it on there, and then you lose the eye, and or a kid gets a hold of it and swallows it, and then you've got a whole other problems. So not today, not ever. But let's see, for this one I think I'm gonna go with I'm debating whether I want to go with the 4mm hook or the 4.25. I think I'll go with the 4.25 because I think it's going to be a little bit better. It's a little bigger, so these are all Since they're pretty much all going to be the same size yarn, since I did end up getting another one of these. I got one of the what is it called? It's kind of like a speckled one in a dark blue. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that for one of them as well, but and I did end up finding the right color for the belly for Moodang to do it with, again, with this size. So all but one of them is going to be made in this one, and then the other one is going to be made in, what color did I decide on? On the same color like pink that I did for Chomper, that like mauve color. So if you guys didn't check out the Chomper video, it's going to be in the playlist along with all the other crochet stuff. So I'm going to tilt the camera down. We're going to get started on this one, and I am going to listen to some music while I'm working on a hippo. Alrighty. Oh, this has me making the paws, the ears, and the tail separate. Okay. And the muzzle. Oh, I have to sew its nose on. Oh no, I don't like doing that. It's fine. It's fine. It's for the video. I'll do it. For the video. For Narnia. And for Aslan. Oh, that's how you can tell what kind of nerd I am. I'm a Narnia kid. Oh man. Alrighty. I mean, can you really blame me? I'm obsessed with Lord of the Rings. I grew up reading a lot of those kinds of books. Of course I'm gonna be a Narnia kid. Like, if I like Lord of the Rings, I'm probably gonna like Narnia. The authors were like best friends, okay? As much as you can be best friends back then. Like, the way the world was. But it's fine. I don't even think I'm gonna have to melt the ends for this one. I think I'll be okay. But we're gonna get started. I need a stitch marker that's not the same color as what I'm working with. Red. That stands out enough. Oh yeah, that'll be fine. So, I won't need it for the tiny pieces because it's literally like make a chain and then make a couple stitches. So, but I have to leave a long tail to sew with on those. That's the other downside to doing sewing patterns, which, before we get started, tangent. The downside to doing patterns where you have to sew is because you have to leave a tail to sew the pieces on, you use up more of the yarn overall because you're wasting little bits off the end, which to me is a little bit frustrating. I'd rather go for the no sew and have the whatever pieces you would be sewing on already be a part of that pattern. So I'm interested to see what the laying down hippo is like, because that's supposed to be no sew. So I may actually do that one with the with that speckled blue or the purple, because I have the least of those. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll be fine. But let's get to making this hippo. So, okay, I'm looking here on the pattern, and in order for you to do the tail, it is literally a single crochet. So it's literally just a little nub for the tail. Why do I love that though so much? Same for the ears. It's literally a single little nub of the ear. I almost feel like I could totally do that without having to make them separately. Like, I could just start crocheting them onto it, but it is what it is. I'm already in this now, so it's fine. Alrighty, there is the muzzle. that's all the extra pieces done. And I think it seems like the head and the body are all one piece. Yeah, okay. So it's telling me to stitch on the muzzle before I do the body, but because whenever I'm stuffing plushies and whenever I'm sewing pieces on, I prefer to have the full body to work with. I'm just going to make the entire thing all at once. Yeah, so I think this is gonna be easier. So I'm gonna do, I should be able to get the whole head through the body all the way done in one go pretty quickly, because it doesn't look like it's going to be as big as I thought it was going to be. I think the ice cream hippo is actually probably going to be a little bit bigger, so we will see in that regard, but this one looks like it might be a little bit smaller. I'm glad I went with the bigger hook because I can see my stitches a little bit better, and I don't have to tug so hard to get the stitches as tight as I would normally need to with thinner velvet yarn. I'll probably still use, for all of them, I'm probably going to use the 4.25 millimeter hook, just because I feel like that size hook works really well for this yarn, specifically for what I'm doing, so we shall see. But, alright, time to make a whole hippo. A whole hippo with his big old belly. Let's go. Okay, now I'm trying to decide what size eyes to do. I think with as small as this is, I might be able to get away with doing the 9mm eyes because they look pretty small. So I have a bunch here. I'm gonna try it. I need to see how far apart the eyes need to go, because it doesn't say in the actual pattern part, but I need another back. There we go. Let me see. Let's see. Eyes over muzzle with a 2 to 3 degree distance. Okay, so it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, about between rows 4 and 5. I can do that. I can do that. Let's see. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, maybe? It's 2 to 3 stitches in between, so. 2, 3. No, more like that. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. I think I've got them. This is actually going to be way smaller than I thought it was going to be. I don't hate it, honestly. If it doesn't take me too long, even with the sewing, then this may work out better than I thought. The biggest thing with this is that whichever one I enjoy making the most, not necessarily whichever one looks the best at the end, but whichever one I enjoy making the most and that looks the best at the end, that's going to be the one probably that's going to be going up on my Etsy and being my go-to hippo pattern going forward. The Moo Dang one will probably just stay as a pattern for me to use. That one might actually be bigger than the rest of them are probably all going to be bigger than this one, but I mean, this is all the bigger his face is. So like, that's pretty small. That is pretty small. So I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so we've gotten to the bottom here, and this actually did turn out way smaller than I thought it was going to. That's totally fine, though. I think I'm gonna melt the end of this just to be safe because it was shedding a little when I cut it. But other than that, like, it's not too bad. So, where'd my lighter go? There it went. I had to use a candle the other day because I couldn't find my lighter. So I used a match, lit a candle, and then melted it on the candle. And I'm like, you know what? It works. Okay. So, but yeah, this actually turned out really, really small comparatively, which does make me wonder if it would work up really nicely in blanket yarn to make a really big chunky one, but I kind of like this one. The stitching is, doesn't look like it's going to be too difficult considering that it's just a bunch of really small pieces. But I will say considering that the head and the body are all worked in one piece continuously down makes it a lot easier. Now, I did notice in the pattern that there were a couple of typos, which I feel like you're going to get that with the translation from Russian to English being a little bit off, which is fine. I knew what they meant. So like there's one round where it says attach the ears to round 14, but it really means to attach the arms to round 14, which I'm like, okay, I totally get that. That makes sense that it would end up being an accidental thing, because right underneath that, when it says to attach the legs at round 21, I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense that it was just an oops, because it also, like, when you go up to the top, it says to attach the ears. Where did it say? Let's see. Attach the ears to the top of the head between rounds, right on round 3. So, like, okay. Or, between round 3 and 4. So it's like, okay. It was just an oops. It happens, but yeah, I will say there was one bit that was a little bit confusing for me, and that's just because I haven't done it this way before. In order to get the belly to have like the pouch part, you had to keep the back part with only single crochets, no increases or decreases, and it threw me off at first because I was like, wait, what am I doing? But I think it turned out pretty good. His belly's a little chunky and funky shaped, but I'm going to add all the stuff off screen, and I'm going to show you guys the finished one at the end. I'm going to do that with all of them. So we're going to see the final products at all the end, but so far this is the head. Whoop, I almost dropped him. The head and the body, and I used less than a skein. I literally used like half a skein of this, and each one of these chenille ones is 65 yards. So it's 50 grams. So like it's not a lot of yarn, but the fact that that works up so well with so little, I think I dropped one somewhere. I don't know. I dropped one somewhere. I grabbed 4 of them because I'm like, well, if I'm going to do a big one, this was not a big one, but that's fine. There we go. So yeah, I'm going to finish this off screen, and we're going to hop to tomorrow where we make the ice cream hippo, and I am going to make the ice cream hippo out of the purple, which I'm very excited for. It's a very pretty dark purple. I'm so excited. So you guys will see me tomorrow. Wardrobe change time. Let's go. Alrighty. After wardrobe change, we are on to hippo number 2. And I'm going to be doing this one in the iris color of the Premier Just Chenille. I have 5 skeins of this total, and I don't think I'm going to need that many. I have 3 over here now. If I have to go get more, I will. This one, again, does have quite a bit of sewing, but the pieces are a little bit bigger, so it'll probably be a little bit easier to see. I'll probably have to use my makeshift amigurumi sticks, which are literally just the giant plastic tapestry needles with a stitch marker on the end so I don't lose them in the project. But I use these like amigurumi sticks to hold things in place, so that way when I'm stitching on pieces they don't move. But for this one, it looks like the ears are separate, the hands and feet are separate, and again the nose is separate. Let me see if it has a tail because it didn't look. Let's see, ears, arms, nose, legs. Okay, this guy doesn't have a tail. Okay, so I don't think, since it doesn't say it has a tail, I'm gonna leave it without because I just want it to be as it was meant to be for the pattern. but it may be one of those where by the end I end up being like, okay, I want to add a tail to it. So for any of those, since I have PDFs for a lot of these, I will physically go through and write on there what changes I'm making and then save that copy for me. That way I know what changes I've made for later. And that way I don't have to keep going back every time and go, crap, what did I do for this one? Because I don't remember now, because ADHD is a bitch. But anyway, we're gonna hop into this one, and I'm gonna start with all the extra pieces first, again, like I did before. If I do want to make the ice cream cone in the future, it has the instructions for that on here, and they're not difficult to make at all, because it has you start with the cone and then you add the ice cream part on top. So it doesn't look too difficult, so we'll see, but whatever. Okay, so I have all of the extra pieces done. I've got both ears. I'm about to drop my hook. Both arms, both legs, and the nose. The only thing that I did notice is that you actually, instead of doing a bobble on the nose for where the little bumps would be, you actually stitch them on after you put it on. So that's going to be interesting to try out. I've never done the piece like that where you actually are trying to build out something on the nose like that, but it's going to be interesting to try out. I want to see how long I think it'll take me to make the head and the body, because I do have to make them in 2 separate pieces and then stitch them together. But hopefully it shouldn't be too bad, because the widest that the head gets is 42 stitches around and the body only gets 30 stitches around. So I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna make the body first and then do the head, because I don't know what size safety eyes I'm gonna need yet. So I want to do the head last, and since it leaves the space open for the neck, I can put the eyes in after I've completed the piece, and then I will stitch everything together and stuff it and get it all ready off screen like I did for the last one, and we'll cut to the end when you guys get to see all of the finished pieces. So let's make the body. Alrighty, the body is done. I got a little belly going on here, which this is definitely going to get a little more filled out once I get the stuffings in, but it shouldn't be too much bigger than this. The head is going to be like almost a size and a half of the body, so that's going to be interesting, but you know what? I'm here for it. It's going to be totally fine. So I'm going to go refill my drink, and then I am going to finish up the head, which hopefully won't take me too long, but it is 3 more rows than the body and it's wider, so it's gonna require more of an increase out before I can do the depth rounds, so we'll see. It's not like it's a difficult pattern, it's just time consuming, so I'm not too worried. Okay, so I was actually gonna finish up the head, but I've run out of time for crocheting today, at least during daylight hours, so I'm gonna finish it up tonight and I'm gonna finish up the whole thing. But I got every other piece done. So I have the belly, I have the nose, the 2 feet, 2 ears, and 2 arms. So all I need to do is make the head and then stitch everything together and I should be good to go. So I will swap to wardrobe change number 2, and you guys will get to see. Tomorrow is going to be us starting on the video tutorial, so that's going to be a little bit interesting. It's probably going to take me a little bit longer to do those, just because I've never done those before. Like, I've followed video tutorials before, but I've never done one for like this kind of video before, so we shall see. But yeah, I think this is going to turn out really well. I'm getting a little more adjusted to crocheting with this yarn, so yeah, I think I'm still gonna end up using less than a full skein for this. And I'm like, I bought so much extra yarn for this project, but that just means I have leftovers, so whatever. But anyway, wardrobe change time, number 2. Alrighty, it is day 3, and we are jumping into the video patterns now, and we are starting with the No Sew Hippo pattern from Rosalie Toys. And I'm gonna do this one in the Premier Retro Velvet, which you can get them in 3 packs on Premier now, but not every color that was originally on there. But we're going to do the color Rose, which is the same color we used for the main body of our dinosaur chomper. So, but I have 2.5 skeins of this, and I don't think we're going to need that because each one's like 300 yards of yarn. So I'm going to hop into this one. I'm going to have music on in the background, but I have so much to listen to for this, but we're going to see how it goes. I think with the way this pattern, it looks like it's going to work up. I'm either going to use 12 or 14 millimeter safety eyes. I'm not sure, but this one does look like colored ones. So if I do 12 millimeters, I may do just regular colored eyes because I've got a whole pack of them. And if I do 14 millimeter eyes, I do have some like glitter ones. So we'll see when we get to there. I don't know if you start with the nose or the tail end, but we'll see. Alright, so I'm mostly done with what we've got so far. I ended up using the 14mm sinker eyes. At least I think they're 14mm. They look like it. If not, whatever. They're 12. It's fine. But I went with purple because I thought that'd be super, super cute, and I think it looks adorable. So I'm gonna finish the rest of the body off screen. I got the biggest part of the belly done. And I will show you guys the finished hippo at the end. And we'll be on to our third wardrobe change of the video. And we'll hop into the Rose and Lily crochet hippo. Alrighty, we are on pattern number 4, and this is the one from Rose and Lily Crochet, and I'm actually really excited for this one because I've done multiple of their patterns before and I really, really like them. But we're gonna do the chenille medley one, which this one is the navy blue color, and I'm actually really excited to see how this turns out. But I have 3 skeins over here. I haven't needed to use as much as I thought I was going to, but it's fine. I also did grab my colors for Mudang for the next one, but they're both the just chenille colors. I have their gray, and then I have, what color? What's this one? Mauve, the light mauve. I did have a slightly more pink color that I was originally going to use for this, but it didn't look right when I put the 2 colors together. Like, it just didn't look right. So I was like, you know what? Fine. We're not going to use the pink. We're going to use the purpley pink and do Mudang that way. It's fine. I think that she's still going to look cute either way, so that's fine. But I'm going to hop into this one, and this is going to be a little bit interesting because following video tutorials is a little bit more difficult for me. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world, but like, it's a little weird for me. I'm not used to it. So I did okay with the last one though. So we'll see, but I gotta get enough out for me to actually work with. I don't know if it's going to tell me to do the main body pieces first or if it's going to tell me to do the extra pieces first. But I think today what you guys are going to see on camera is going to be the main body pieces. And then I'm going to finish the other pieces off camera. We'll see. But I don't know. It's going to turn out however it turns out, I suppose. But let me think. I'm not entirely sure what size eyes I'm going to want to use for this either. I'm not sure what it's going to tell me to use, but we'll see. I am going to pull up my other thing so that I can listen to music when I'm in between steps and just have like background stuff going on. You know, keep my brain from overloading. But here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay, so having just got like what I think is 2/3 of the head done, this is gonna take me a while. So I'm gonna finish him off screen, but we've got the start, we've got the head. I am probably gonna have to add the little bumps for the nose, but that's fine. I did it with the other ones, that's not a big deal. The other thing that I'm wondering with this one is, 1, does it have a tail? And 2, how big is the body comparatively? Because the way the pattern looks is I'm gonna have to make like the arms separate and then start with the legs and then build it up so that I can stitch it underneath the head. I'm not entirely sure how that's gonna work, but we'll see. The other thing that concerns me about doing the Mudang one tomorrow is it looks like there's a lot of color changes, and I suck sometimes at color changes, especially when it's a bigger pattern. So I don't know. It's gonna depend on how big it works up once we start working on it, but I don't know. we shall see. But yeah, for now, this is what we got of our 4th hippo head. And at the end of the video, we're going to compare all of these 4. The Mudang one is kind of its own thing, since that was more of like a, okay, this is a super cute, like almost character-like one. But of the 4 that we've done, I think I already know which one is going to be the one that I enjoy doing going forward. But still going to finish this one because I really do want to see how this turns out in the end. Like, I really want to see how this one works up. So fingers crossed it turns out really good. Alrighty. It is the final day. Now things are going to be a little bit different with the ending than I anticipated. I'm not going to be able to do all of Mudang on camera, and you guys aren't going to get to see me talk about the finished piece here, but you are still going to get to see her all finished at the end. But I have the other 4 finished. Okay, so we're going to start with the first one. We're going to grade them on where I think they are in both look. We have three categories of what I think we're going to talk about with these. So first category is the look of the hippo. And when I say look, I'm like, do I think that this is one that 1 looks super, super cute, and 2 would be like something that I think other people would gravitate towards really, really easily. So number 2, the workability of the pattern. How easy was it to follow? How many changes needed to be made in order for it to really fit with my crochet style, or to make it look a little bit more like I would want it to? And 3, enjoyability of working the pattern. And that's a big one for me. So if I think there's going to be more work than I really want to put into it, I'm not going to want to do it as much. So it's going to be fine. I've got all 4 of them done here. So we're going to start with our first one, which was our really chonky blue hippo. And I mean, he did turn out super, super cute. The only thing that I really didn't like about this is I don't like how stubby the legs and arms and everything are. Like, the ears work up fine. The other thing that I have a little bit of an issue with this one is that there are a little bit of spaces in the hole. So I think with this one, if I'm going to use this yarn, I may actually have to use either a smaller hook or use slightly tighter stitches, which with this size hook is a little bit difficult. But I still think he turned out super, super cute. Look at his little nose. Look at that. He looks so angy. He just looks so angy. I don't know, but he looks super, super angy. But for the look of him, I think he does look really cute. So I'm going to put him at a B. He's not the cutest one of the group. There's one very particular one that I think is the cutest of the 4. But he's going to get a B. And we're going to do regular school grade, so it's going to be A through F, okay? And thankfully, none of them are an F tier. Not even a D tier, okay? Like, they're not, okay? For workability, I did have to do a few size changes when I was working up through the body, just because it was a little bit difficult to go from or down through the body to keep it centered, which for one like this where you're just doing the head all the way down to the body in one piece and stitching on the pieces later isn't too big of a deal. But if you're doing a pattern that requires bobble stitches, or if you have specific places where increases and decreases need to go, keeping the start of the row centered is a little bit of a challenge with this one, but this one wasn't too bad. When it comes to enjoyability on this one, I actually didn't mind this one as much. The nose was really hard to stitch on though, and that piece, stitching it on, took me longer to stitch on the nose than it did to stitch on all the rest of the body, including, all limbs, tails, and ears. He has more than one ear. It took me longer to stitch on the nose than it did to stitch on all the rest. So that's a bit of a downside, which I think means for the workability of the pattern itself is going to be a B. And enjoyability is actually going to be a C, because I do not like stitching, and this was a pain in the butt. However, I think overall, for my personal style, this would technically still sit as a B tier, because I can kind of overlook the stitching when the rest of the pattern works up as smoothly as it does. So I think our first one sits at a B. Now, on to number 2. And this one was the one that is the ice cream hippo, technically. But I think he turned out super cute. I have some gripes, and you'll see why. Tell me why this boy looks like a teddy bear. I love it though. Like, he looks like the hippo version of a teddy bear, but he still looks really, really cute. The only thing that I had a little bit of an issue with on this one was getting the arms and the legs straight, because that was a pain in the butt. Stitching the ears on was fine. I literally could just count out from the center where he needed to go. Nose was really easy to put on, surprisingly, but I think just because it sticks out more and it's not as wide as the one from the first one. So for pattern understandability, definitely an A. It was super easy to follow this one. It was super, super quick. And the only downside with this one is the amount of stitching. Honestly, like, the amount of stitching for this one is not fun. I don't like it. So that, with the amount of stitching, puts it at a C. Like, I understood the entire pattern. I didn't have to really change anything at all, but the stitching brought that part of it down to a C. However, enjoyability of it was not actually too bad. And I think that the finished project kind of speaks for itself in, like, what you would think of like, does it look really crisp? Do the pieces look really, really good when they're in place? And I do think yes. So for that, I'm going to put it back up at an A, which also puts this one at a B tier. Now, the only things that I would change for this is I think I would make the ears more pointed instead of round, because I think the round ears make him look way more like a teddy bear. And I think for the arms and legs, I definitely would make the legs bigger, and I would want to add a little nub for a tail, because he falls directly backwards. Like, I tried to sit him up on the shelf and he just immediately and then rolled off. And I was like, well, okay. But yes, I think overall he is a B tier. Alrighty. Now, this one I had so much fun with, and I'm actually really, really sad that I didn't get to spend as much time making this one, because this guy, look at him. This one, I have to tell you, is my favorite of the four. This is my favorite of the four. It worked up so nicely, and I'm always a little more partial to no-sew patterns because, one, I do think they look really, really cute, and two, it makes the whole process of making them so smooth. Like, so, so smooth. I think for this one, the pattern itself to follow was actually more challenging than the other ones. So the pattern itself to follow, I'm actually going to put at a B tier. And this one may have also just been because it was a video one. But even after going through and kind of looking at all the steps without watching the video, like, I can see where the steps are going. But again, like with the first one, I kept having to add single crochets to keep the center, because the center is the bottom. But in order to keep where the center is in the middle, I kept having to add single crochets in order to keep it straight. So technically it adds more stitches than are actually setting in the pattern. But if I hadn't done it that way, then all of this would have kept tilting this way. And so he would have been very lopsided, but it didn't turn out that way. When it comes to like the workability of the pattern overall, I think that once you kind of get to like, okay, you're going to have to add single crochet stitches, which a lot of no-sew patterns and just patterns in general do require you to do to keep the pattern centered. I think once you get past that point, this works up super, super quickly and works up super, super smoothly. The only thing that took me a little bit to figure out was doing the ears at first, just because I've never really done ears this way, but having them actually just be part of the row when you stitch into it makes life so much easier. It really, really does. And for enjoyability of this one, top tier, 10 out of 10. So nicely. And I think the yarn actually did help a lot with this, using the Premier Retro Velvet. However, I did start making one with the blue that I used for the first one. I was trying to remember, and I looked over on the shelf, and the blue's not up there anymore because the purple's in the way. But yeah, the blue that I worked on the first one with, I've actually been making another one out of this one, just because I want to kind of see how it works up, and it's actually been working out pretty smoothly with that one too. I also really think that the sinker eyes kind of make this pattern, like, without the color. Come on now, like, look at that sparkle. He's so cute. That sparkle is adorable. The sparkle in the eyes, I think, honestly makes this. And because I have so many different colors, I can do some pretty good combinations. On the light blue one, I am doing like the really rich dark blue sparkle, but I have a bunch of different colors in there. And because you don't technically have to use the circle on them, if I really want to, I can actually paint the underneath with whatever color I want. And sometimes I will do it depending on if it's going to be like a regular project that goes out with like the rest if I'm gonna sell it. Sometimes I will use acrylic paints. Sometimes I will use like nail polish with a clear paint cover over it, and I don't use the clear nail polish seal. I use like actual clear paint seal, and the reason for that is because that doesn't come off in the washing machine. If people throw it in the washing machine, you're not supposed to. You really shouldn't when it comes to crochet things, especially those with safety eyes. You should hand wash them, but I know people do it anyway because they just don't do hand washing, and it irritates me when people do that. I'm like, if you're gonna get crochet things, you gotta take care of them because they require more. But this one I think is my favorite, and this one is definitely my A tier pick. This one is so cute. I absolutely adored this one. Now, the final one of the 4 that were a main part of this challenge took more than double the amount of yarn of all the other ones individually. The blue speckled one took 2.5 skeins of the yarn. So each one of these skeins is about 65 yards. It was literally almost like 150 yards of this yarn in order to make this one. But he turned out so good. Like, look at him. The nose actually stands out way better than I thought it did. I didn't add the stitches in there just because I didn't want to add anything extra while I was trying to work on the main part of the pattern, but he was actually really, really easy to stitch together. So following the pattern was super, super easy. Like, really easy. Each piece was on there individually for what you had to make. So it starts with the head, then you make the ears and stitch them on, and then it has you start with the legs and make the body all the way up, and then you make the arms and stitch those in, which I did one change for the pattern. I'll talk about that in workability, but for following the pattern, this was fantastic. This was super, super easy to follow. Both this one and the last one, I think, were really, really the easiest for me to follow. Other than the ears and the tail with the last one, but that's the other thing that this one doesn't have. No tail. How dares. But I would definitely add one just right in the back so that way he's got a little bit of something. For workability, he, despite the stitching, which thankfully wasn't too bad, the only things that you really have to stitch in are the ears at the top, obviously. And the change that I made is you're supposed to, the pattern says for you to stitch the body onto the head and then add the arms. I did a little change and I stitched the arms into the top row of the bottom piece and then stitched the head onto the bottom piece. And I think that makes the arms a little bit sturdier so that there's not as much of a chance of them actually being able to get yanked out by somebody. And I think that doing it that way it's just more for me of like the security of making the plushie. But for that, I think overall, other than the stitching, it was pretty darn easy. So I'm going to put the workability for this one at a B. Now, this is where this one drops, because the joy of building this whole thing together, it took me so much longer. And I got so frustrated because of just how many rows that you have to do, because he does turn out so big, that by the time I was about halfway through the body, I was like, I don't want to make this stupid hippo anymore. So unfortunately, that does drop this guy down to enjoyability, down to a C. So that actually, like, following the pattern, A. Workability, about a B. Enjoyability, about a C. And because of how low the enjoyability went, I'm putting this guy at just above a C, at a B minus, because I just really struggled with the amount that has to go into this one. And that's not to say that it's a bad pattern at all. Rose and Lily crochets are fantastic. Rose and Lily crochet patterns are fantastic patterns. I just think for what I really would want to do long term, this guy is not where I would go. However, it's not saying that I wouldn't make one of them again, because I absolutely would. It's just one of those where now knowing how much goes into the pattern, I would kind of have to like shift that bit in my brain of like, you know, you're going to struggle a little bit with the bigger pieces. Just take your time, intersperse it with other things that you're working on, and then you'll get it done. And you won't have to worry about getting like overloaded with it. So there's that. But with that, I have chosen which of the 4 patterns is going to be officially added to my Etsy. And that is going to be our 3rd choice, which is this little guy. I absolutely loved making this guy. He's going to be going on my Etsy, and as of this video being live, that option for plushies is live on my Etsy. You guys can go check it out at the link if you guys want to get your own. I have all of the color choices that I have as options up there, so if you guys are wanting one of those colors, they have the options right there in the drop down. If you're wanting a different color, you'd have to message me and I can see if I can find that color, or at least the closest equivalent, but I think this one is going to be my go-to. The only thing I'm going to change and add to this is I'm going to make the bobble stitch legs and arms bigger. And the reason that I'm going to do that is because they are such tiny little nubbins for this one. They're so tiny. So instead of doing a regular bobble stitch, I'm going to do what I call a puff bobble stitch, which makes the bobble so much bigger. And I really, really enjoy doing that one. And maybe at some point I'll do a video showing you guys how I do the puff bobble stitch, because I really, really enjoy doing that one. Like the nose doing a regular bobble is totally fine because it doesn't need to be big, but the arms and legs need to be a little bit bigger so that he's not rolling as much and he actually can stand up like this. But this is going to be our little guy going on Etsy. I love him so much. He's so cute. He's so freaking cute. But we're gonna hop over and you guys are gonna see a little bit of me working on Mudang, and you're gonna get to see the final picture. I wish I'd had a little more time to work on Mudang, but life be lifin'. But it is what it is. So I'm gonna give a little bit of my voiceover while I am showing you guys some of me working on Mudang. So this challenge was actually really, really fun for me to do. Doing 1 pattern a day, I think really helped me kind of get through them really quickly and really helped me stay engaged with them. So I'm super, super excited to do more like this in the future, which I think we're going to do for some of my ocean critter ones. So if you guys have been keeping up, in the last video of me talking about crochet things, I did say that our next one after the hippos was going to be crocheting my dinos. And we are going to be crocheting both of our alligator crocodile boys, Patch and Steve. I have all the yarn colors for them and I'm very, very excited. And after them, I am going to be crocheting Stardew Valley critters. So specifically, I'm going to be making the Stardew Valley chickens, which I have not touched them, the Stardew Valley slimes, and again, have not touched that patterns, and the Stardew Valley Junimos. And I have made the Junimos and they're very, very easy to make. They're very, very cute. And I'm really excited for you guys to see how they turn out. After that, I'm not entirely sure what I want to do. I may put up a poll on the channel just to see what you guys would be interested in seeing me crochet next. It'll probably be between Pokemon. It'll probably be between Pokemon, ocean critters, or depending on when in the year we're at that point, it may or may not be Halloween themed. So I'm not sure, because I do have a couple of Halloween and Christmas themed things that I'm really excited to try out for this year. And they're patterns that I haven't touched at all. So I'm very interested to jump into those. But as you guys can see here, Mudang is super cute. And I will say that the color changes for this, I always struggle a little bit with color changes, just trying to get the look right. But yeah, here is our finished Mudang, and I think she turned out super, super cute. Mudang is always cute, so here you go. I think for Mudang, she would be more of like a special order kind of, just because I really like the other hippo pattern, and I think that even though Moodang is adorable, I really enjoy having a really chunky no-so hippo as like our main hippo pattern. It's not to say that I wouldn't make any of the others again. I just really enjoyed the third one. So anyway, next week, if you guys have not heard yet, which I've talked about it a little bit on the channel, I am going to be playing through Tales of the Shire. Now, there is a bit of a caveat to Tales of the Shire. I'm not entirely sure if Tales of the Shire is going to continue after next week. And the reason for that being is because if it becomes more of just a you're living in the Shire kind of farming sim, I will probably just keep it to myself to enjoy. However, I still want to play through it some on the channel because I do enjoy Lord of the Rings, and I think it'll be super fun to have this cute cozy game for the week of my birthday, which is Monday. So we're going to be starting off the week with Tales of the Shire, and then all Monday through Saturday is going to be Tales of the Shire, and I'm very excited. So whatever scuffs happen, whatever weird glitchies happen, and we're just going to go with it. Y'all know that I keep glitches and weird shit in games when I play them, and dumb goofy moments in my videos. I mean, you guys have literally seen me eating grapes and spilling pomegranate juice down myself. Like, I don't really hide stuff. But yeah, I am very excited to try out that game and see how it plays. But yeah, the Dino Crochet will be up in a few weeks. It should be about 3 weeks from today as of you guys seeing this. If it's going to be longer, I'll let you guys know, but it should be 3 weeks from today. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how they turn out. I haven't done this crocodile pattern either, so I'm really interested to see how this turns out, especially considering that not only am I doing color changes where the pattern doesn't call for color changes, but I'm also doing a pattern I've never touched before. This is going to take some time. But I got 3 weeks to do it, so we'll see how it turns out. But anyway, I'm going to leave this video here, and in the next one, we'll check out the dinosaurs. But in the meantime, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future. And of course, leave suggestions down in the comments of anything you'd like to see me crochet in the future. Hit the notification bell, that way you guys will know when new videos go live, if YouTube does what it's supposed to do, because sometimes it don't. It's fickle like that. And share the video around to anybody else you think might enjoy watching me create some of these lovely crochet critters. That was a tongue twister, and we're not going to talk about how many times I had to re-record my outro. It was bad. It was a lot. Editor me, don't you dare. Don't you do it. Don't you say how many it was. Editor me put it in there, didn't she? Yeah. She's a bitch sometimes. Anyway, I'm going to leave the full playlist of all of the crochet things up here on the screen if you guys want to check those out. And on the opposite side of the screen, since we are going to be moving into crocheting dinosaurs, I'm going to leave the full playlist for Paleo Pines here. That way you guys can check out all of the gameplay before you guys get to see who I'm crocheting. Now remember, the ones that I am crocheting are Patch and Steve. Patch, I believe I found through the main playthrough. I don't think I found Steve through the playthrough. I think I found Steve while I was doing one of the other crochet videos. I think it was Freckles and Bravo, possibly. I think it was when I was doing my Triceratops and my Styracosaurus? No, that's not Styracosaurus. I don't remember what Bravo is, actually. I don't remember. Because Styracosaurus is my little jewel. Anyway, I'm going to leave that playlist there if you guys want to go check out that. I absolutely adored that game, and I do have another dinosaur game coming probably sometime this year. If not this year, it'll definitely be the beginning of next year. So I'm really excited to jump into that one. But that one will probably be after Spirit of the North 2, I think. So, but I'll talk about it more then. But anyway, if you guys want to get one of the chunky no-so hippos, check out my Etsy page link down below. It has all of the different plushies on there that I am currently putting out to be sold more frequently. So it's gonna have my turtles, it's gonna have my chickens, it's gonna have my bunnies, my ducks, my stingrays, It's also gonna have my baby Groot and my Cinnamoroll on there because those were freaking adorable. And my Mewtwo. So there's quite a few different options there if you guys are looking for something specifically. My ladybugs are on there as well. I forgot about that. But I do plan to add a few more patterns going forward onto there, and there may be some that rotate in and out that are holiday ones. So like for Halloween, I have the poisoned apple from Snow White that I put on there that I love making that poisoned apple. It turns out so good. I have pumpkins that I do on there that you can get in sets of 2 up through 5, I believe. If you're looking for more of a decor piece versus like a regular plushie. And I also have I also have a little ghost pattern that I absolutely love them. I have 2 different patterns actually, and I have some Christmas ones. I've got a little gingerbread man and a Christmas tree that I always put up, and I love making those too. So, but yeah. Anyway, that being said, I'm Captain TigerLily, and I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye.